What's happening, my people? I hope you're staying blessed this morning. I'm back again with another morning outlook. It's your boy JD Trades. Let's take a look at this morning's price action. So far, looking at things from the DXY on the daily time frame, as we always do. Now, the daily picture isn't really telling us much to begin with, okay? At least for now. At the moment, we are reacting inside this small little daily imbalance, and we've rejected higher. Now, still looking at things from the 4 hour perspective, I would still like to see this come down. I do believe that we can get, of course, lower price and a long position from lower. However, it doesn't mean that price can't necessarily push up, as if we turn our attention over to the 1 hour time frame, we are currently sitting inside of an area where price can push up from. Okay, we've taken out this Asia session low here. Okay, with this push to the downside, and we've reacted off of the back of that, which is great. Now, everything price is doing so far is not anything to be so concerned about. Now, we are currently sitting in two areas, okay? Now, price can give us a buy, okay, and push up from here for the dollar. However, we can also see that price has also reacted from this 1 hour area, okay, from taking out these highs. We reacted from this area and we've come down. So we could potentially get a play where this area does sustain a whole move to take out this low, or we get a potential rejection of this 1 hour candle and we take out the highs. Now, for the time being, the picture isn't entirely the clearest. We kind of need to let this picture build and formulate just at least for a little while. Now, let's take a look at the weekly candle, as it can help us determine how this weekly candle is most likely to close. Now, because we are currently printing a doji candle and we understand that the liquidity is above, now price could potentially close in and around the same area and leave the week as a doji candle to kind of leave over this weekly imbalance. You know, preferably, I would like to see this candle actually close a little bit more bearish to the downside. Just close off this imbalance a little bit more. But for the time being, this is a weekly imbalance that is being left behind. So we definitely have to see if, we're going to get a reversal Friday. Highly unlikely, but let's take a look at those areas for the time being for the rest of today and see what potential moves we can get off of the back of that. So as we always do, that's going to lead us over to Euro USD. So Euro USD, I did actually look for this buy position for Euro USD. It didn't actually play into the area at the time that we were kind of looking for it. It, of course, played into the area a lot later, around 6 p.m. We stayed there through Asia session, and we can see that we actually dipped, okay? And we, of course, hit stop loss, which is fine. It's all part of the job, okay? It's all part of trading. You are going to hit stop loss. You're not going to get every single trade correct. However, the trade was valid, so definitely had to take it. So in that regard, that area is now becoming validated. And as I mentioned to you before, we do have this area inside of here. Okay, these two up candles that can potentially give us some short positions. Okay. Now, like I said to you before, the dollar does have two pictures printing and building at the exact same time. So we may potentially get either or. Now, looking at this weekly candle, of course, it is going to be very similar to the DXY. But for the time being, the lows is my overall target. So I would like to see this stretch lower. Maybe it's not ready to stretch lower for now. However, the 4 hour structure, I can't keep denying that. The fact that we have taken up this lower high, this should push up higher, at least for the short term, at least for the time being, which does not coincide with the short opportunity that is currently printing here. However, all of this is going to be dependent on the dollar and exactly what the dollar is doing. Might I remind you that the 4 hour picture, in terms of this high low, these higher highs here, we have broken beneath it. So we should get lower prices, ideally. So we'll see if there's any news catalyst that is going to, of course, force price to go in a different direction. But for the time being, I still like EU to, of course, push up higher. Next up is gold. For the time being, gold, of course, there was a great move called out on gold for the shorts. We did get a very nice move to the downside. However, you can see we did get a lot of wiki price action during the Asia session. And price has definitely wicked up and we've come back down. Now, with that wick up, right, we've done something very interesting in the fact that we have taken out the liquidity resting above these highs. And we're currently holding this 1 hour candle. So we are sitting in around 50% of this 1 hour candle, which is a little bit interesting. It is sort of painting the picture at the moment that we may potentially come down. However, let's not neglect on the half hour that we have played into this half hour candle and we're currently printing higher prices, which does coincide with a lot of what my bias is for most of the majors is to, of course, push up and, potentially give us a new high. I would like to still see gold push up and make a new high, a new all-time high, just due to the fact that I don't believe the bullish price action is done just yet. Next pair for you guys is going to be on GU. GU hasn't really given us much. It hasn't been the most exciting pair to trade as of late, and that's perfectly a-okay. Moving on to next week, we can potentially get some daily pullbacks into this area here, okay, for that imbalance, for us to, of course, get some potential shorts. So this is something I'm more so looking at next week. I don't believe that price will rise all the way, back to 126 level. I don't really see that, at least for the time being. But I do see us having a shallow retracement on the daily to take out the liquidity resting above these highs to then get a much more, fulfilled of a short position to carry the move to the downside. Now, the 1 hour picture that is currently printing on the dollar is also available here for GBP/USD. So there is potential for some shorts coming up off of this area here. But as I said to you before, this is all going to depend on exactly what the dollar wants to do. So this is something I would potentially look at for this morning and potentially the rest of New York this afternoon. Now we can go for a quick 1 to 2 R&R. Now looking to the downside if there's any other real areas to target. And ideally, we do have these lows sitting here, which is our closest area of liquidity, as we haven't taken out those lows just yet. Now, we are currently still bouncing off of the top of this weekly candle, which may sustain price action for quite some time. But at least for the time being, let's just, of course, take our time and trade as price gives us. So in that regard, we may not potentially get much. If we take a look at yesterday, I believe it was, we did have some data come out. Oh, sorry, it was this morning. We had some data come out for the pound, inflation rate, unemployment rate, and those have all been, so the forecast is 4, the actual is 4.4, so unemployment rate is higher, inflation is forecast 3.1, and it's also higher. Okay, cool. So the pound may potentially be weak, which, of course, if the dollar does sway into the direction of being bullish, it may potentially be better to trade the pound rather than the euro. But of course, this is all speculation. And, if you are only trading either GU or EU, just stick to that. You don't have to chop and change and mix and match. Now, for the time being, the S&P 500 has, come down below 5,000 for the first time so far this year, since rallying very, very strong throughout the end of last year and into, Q1 and Q2 so far this year. This has been on quite the tremendous drop to the downside, and potentially we may get some more downside price action. Now, for the time being, I will take a closer look at this closer to the stock open this afternoon. I am looking at these highs over here as they have been left behind. I did think we were going to take them out yesterday, but it didn't happen, and that's perfectly fine. I'll be anticipating price inside of this 1 hour imbalance if it holds. If it doesn't hold, then we can anticipate price heading to other areas in the market. So with that being said, that's all from me, JD Trades. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a blessed day and safe trading. Forever blessed. Peace.